The function of the respiratory system is gas exchange. So oxygen into the blood and carbon dioxide out of the blood. Carbon dioxide is CO2 out of blood. And oxygen is O2 into the blood. That's the whole purpose of the respiratory system. Now, because it's a system, it means that there's a number of organs all working together. So let's see what these are. So the respiratory system actually starts up here at the mouth and the nose. Behind the mouth and the nose, we have this cavity called the pharynx. The pharynx. And at the bottom of the pharynx, we have the voice box. And the voice box is called the larynx. It's the voice box here, and it's called the larynx. That's the voice box. After the voice box, it continues down as a tube called the trachea. The windpipe is called the trachea. After the end of the trachea, it splits. And these two splits, the singular is called a bronchus, and the plural is bronchi. So there's two bronchi, or the singular we call it a bronchus. Now after that, we have lots and lots of divisions and branches, all the way through, getting smaller and smaller airways. And these small airways are called bronchioles. Now at the end of the bronchioles we have the air sacs, and those air sacs are called alveolus. So I'll show you, this is like, if this is the last bronchiole, at the end of the bronchiole we have air sacs. Each air sac is called an alveolus, and the plural is alveoli, or alveoli. So those alveoli make up the bulk of what we know as being the lungs. So the lungs look like this. Now, so just before I show you how the gas exchange happens at the alveolus, I want to actually show you the mechanism by which we actually breathe in. So we have a very important muscle down here, and this muscle is called the diaphragm. So there's actually one more really important part, and that's the ribs. And the ribs look a little bit like that. So I brought along a friend today to help me explain to you how we breathe in. So we have the ribs here, and we have the diaphragm. So when we breathe in, the diaphragm actually pulls down. The diaphragm goes down like this. And what happens with the ribs, as you know, when you breathe in, your ribs go up. So your ribs come up and out like this. It's what we call a bucket handle effect. So here we've got a bucket handle here, and as you can see, when we're at rest, the bucket handle of the rib is in a downward position. When we breathe in, the muscles here of our ribs lift the bucket handle up. And as you can see, that actually takes up more room or more space. So it was down like that and it went up. So there's a large area inside the rib cage. When the diaphragm goes down and the ribs go up, it increases the area inside the rib cage, so air goes into the lungs and fills up those lungs. When we breathe out, it's the opposite. The diaphragm goes up, the ribs go down, and it pushes the air out. Okay, so that's how we breathe. Now I want to show you the gas exchange that occurs at the alveolus. Okay, so I'm going to show you one singular alveolus. And it looks like that. And what's wrapped around the alveolus is a blood vessel, a capillary. So the capillary is a very, very small blood vessel, and its wall is only 1 cell thick. The alveolus is also very, very thin, also only 1 cell thick. Now, so what's happening here is that the blood has got lots of oxygen in it because it's just come from the, it's come through from the mouth, from the air, and it's gone in. So we've got lots of oxygen in here, and the oxygen is going to move into the capillary through a process called diffusion. The carbon dioxide, there's lots of carbon dioxide in the blood coming back from the body, so this carbon dioxide is going to go into the lungs and it gets breathed out. So that process of gas exchange occurs because of diffusion. Remember, diffusion occurs when there's a concentration gradient, means when it goes from high to low. So high oxygen in the lung going to the low oxygen environment of the capillary. And the carbon dioxide is going to go from the high carbon dioxide in the capillary into the alveolus, and that carbon dioxide is then gets breathed out. So now the blood is full of oxygen, and it's then going to go back to the heart, back through the left-hand side of the heart and out to the body. So, structure and function. There's a number of structural properties of the alveolus that allow for gas exchange to occur. Firstly, there is a large surface area. Now, they say that if you took all of the alveolus in the lungs, all the alveoli in the lungs, and spread them out, they would be the same surface area as a tennis court. So there's a very, very large surface area, and that means it's very efficient for gas exchange. The next one is that the surface of the alveolus is moist. So that moist surface allows for the gas exchange to occur more readily. And the third thing is that the alveolus and the capillary are very, very thin. Very thin wall, only 1 cell thick. So that makes it much easier for gas exchange to occur.